Hi there! Today I'm gonna talk about a very good friend of mine, books. Oh, I didn't notice you. I was reading this book, Kafka on the Shore. It was so good that I couldn't put it down. I kept reading because it was so interesting. I couldn't put it down. So this book is called, the title of the book is Kafka on the Shore. This is the title, and the writer who wrote it, it was written in Japanese by a Japanese writer. So it was written by Haruki Murakami. I'm sure you know him, right? So the book was originally published in Japanese, of course, in 2002. Yes, it was translated to English in 2005. It also received an award. So it's an award-winning book. Yes, that means it's very famous. And this book is one of his masterpieces. A masterpiece is a famous work, a great book. It could be a great piece of art or a piece of literature, right? This book is one of his masterpieces. So it's a famous book. It's an award-winning book. Usually when a book wins an award, there is a sticker on the cover that says award-winning or winner of the Pulitzer Prize, for example. Winner of this award. This means that the book won an award, won a prize. And that means the book, it's very good. It's supposedly very good, right? So this is a translated book, right? And we have the cover. This is the cover. This is a paperback. This is a paperback because it's not hardcover. Hardcover means that it's very hard. The cover, when the cover is very hard, very thick, we call that hardcover. But this is paperback. It's paper, but a little bit thicker than normal paper, so we say it's paperback. Yeah. And this book has almost 50 chapters. Yeah, so the book is divided into, every book is divided usually in chapters, and this book is very long, so it has almost 50 chapters. Also, the book is about 615 pages long. It's a pretty long book. It's 615 pages long. So it's a pretty long book. But I assure you that it is worth your time. It's a must read. You must read it. It's a must read. It's award-winning, it's a must-read, it's so good, you can't put it down. So actually this book is not mine. It's not mine. I borrowed it from a friend of mine. So it's my friend's, not mine. And that's why I can't write anything on it. I really like to write things in my book. Sometimes I add my thoughts to it. I put down my thoughts, I annotate, I underline some sentences or some words that I like. But for this book, I couldn't do it because it wasn't mine, and I have to return it to my friend, right? So when I return it to her, it has to be as good as new. It has to be in a good condition. So unfortunately, I couldn't write anything down, and I really don't like to borrow books because of this. Yeah, I like to go to a bookstore or maybe even order a book online. Yeah, that I prefer buying a book in a bookstore than buying it online. I usually have a TBR list, a TBR list, a to be read list. A to be read list is where you write down the books that you want to read and the books you want to actually buy and then read, or borrow and then read. That is your TBR list. So I usually have a TBR list on my phone, and I put down the titles of the books I want to buy, and usually I buy it online, or I go to a bookstore and then I buy it there. So I don't really like to buy a book on impulse. Buying something on impulse means that you buy it, you see it suddenly and you like it and you buy it. That is buying on impulse, or doing something on impulse. So you haven't thought it through, you haven't planned it, you don't have a list, a shopping list. You just see it, you like it, and then you buy it. That is buying on impulse. So I don't usually buy books on impulse. I have this to be read list, but sometimes I go to a bookstore, I see a book cover that is very eye-catching. It catches your attention immediately because the cover is so beautiful. It's so eye-catching that you see it and like you pick it up, you were immediately attracted to the book. You pick it up and then you look at it, right? You flip through it sometimes. I would flip through the book, flip the pages so I can see what is written in the book and get a general idea of what the book is about. But the best thing you can do before flipping through the pages is to look at the back of the book. That is where you can find the summary. So in the summary, they tell you what the book is about. For example, they tell you about the characters in the book. For example, the main character or the protagonist of this book, Kafka on the Shore, is Kafka Tamura. So this is one of the main characters, and the other main character is Nakata. So we have two main characters in this book. Yeah, they also give you the plot in the summary. The plot is the general things that are happening in the book. For example, Tamura runs away from his house and then he goes to an island called Shikoku, and then there's Nakata who does this and that, and then this happens. Yeah, but sometimes a book is very short, something like 100 pages, 150, 200 even, and it is possible to read the book in one sitting. To read it in one sitting means that you don't put the book down, you do your stuff, then you come back and read it. No, you read it in one sitting. So for example, I just sit here on this couch, yeah, and then I start reading for maybe 2 hours, 3 hours, I don't know, but the book is so good that I read it in one sitting. Yeah, so sometimes you read a book in one sitting. You can also say that you binge read it. Yeah, you binge read it. That means that you read so many pages in such a short amount of time. For example, you maybe read it in one sitting, or maybe you read the book in one day. Yeah, or you're reading not the whole book, but a large amount of text, so many pages, maybe like 100 pages, yeah, a lot of pages. Just like when you can't put a book down because it's so addicting. Sometimes the book is addicting because it has a lot of cliffhangers. A cliffhanger is when something very exciting happens, exciting or dangerous, at the end of a chapter or even an episode of a film or a show, usually a TV show, not a film, a TV show, something that continues. Yeah. So, for example, the main character, the protagonist, gets stabbed with a knife, yeah, and then the chapter ends or the episode ends, and you don't know if that character is going to live or is going to die. So you have to watch it or you have to read it. You have to read the next chapter so you know what happened to the character. Yeah, and that is a cliffhanger. So when a book has a lot of cliffhangers, it makes the book more exciting, more addicting. Yeah. And you might wonder, how can we know that a book is good? How can we know that this book is a good book for me to read? One thing you can do, one way, is to read reviews of the book. For example, go online on websites like Goodreads and then read reviews or comments of people who have already read the book. Yeah, and they say their opinion on the book. They say if it's a good book or if it's a bad book, and they give reasons for it. And at the end, they say, I recommend it or I don't recommend it. Also, for good comments, we can say there are so many praises for the book. Yeah, sometimes at the end of the book or at the beginning of the book, there are some good comments about the book, and it's written by some very famous people in the literature field who know what they are talking about, people who are actually in this field, and maybe they've written books themselves or something, and they give praises for the book. For example, a praise for this book, here we have on the back cover of the book, and the first one is by Daily Mail. So Daily Mail praises this book and says, wonderful, magical, and outlandish. And when a book gets a lot of good praise, good comments, a lot of praises, we can say it's critically acclaimed. Yeah, so there are so many critics, book critics, who write their comments, their opinions of the book. They say if they like the book, if the book is a good book or if it's a bad book, they give reasons for it. And if there are so many critics that are praising the book, that are saying that the book is very good, then we can say the book is critically acclaimed. That's a very good thing for the book. That means it's successful. Yeah, it's going to be successful because it's well written, it's a good book, and a lot of critics say so. They say that it's a good book, so it's got to be. Yeah. Okay, guys, that's it for this episode. I hope you liked it. If you liked, please tell me what you think about the video in the comments. Like the video and subscribe. Yes, and I'll see you next week. Bye bye.